Space is vast, beautiful, and mysterious, but it is also a place of unimaginable danger. For the brave souls who venture beyond Earth's atmosphere, the risk of death is ever present. In our quest to explore the cosmos, we must confront the stark reality that death in space is an inescapable possibility. But what would it actually mean for a human to die in the cold void of space? What would happen to the body? And how would the world, or perhaps just a small crew on a distant mission, respond? These are the chilling questions that we must begin to ask as we look forward to the future of space exploration. The risks of deep space travel are not new, but the implications of death in space are often overlooked. In this episode of Night Cosmos, we will explore the science, the emotions, and the unknowns behind dying in the void of space. When we think of death in space, the first thing that comes to mind is often the idea of astronauts being lost forever, their bodies floating in the cold, silent abyss. But the truth is far more complicated. Space itself is a hostile environment, and the human body, once outside the protective bubble of Earth's atmosphere, is vulnerable to a number of extreme conditions. The vacuum of space is a lethal force. Without the pressure of Earth's atmosphere, bodily fluids would begin to vaporize and organs would begin to shut down. Yet in a way, space itself is not the true killer. Instead, it is the lack of life-sustaining elements, oxygen, heat, and protection from radiation that makes space so deadly. The silence of space is not a sign of peace, but of finality. Once you are beyond the grasp of Earth's gravity, the void of space becomes an eternal tomb. One of the most unnerving aspects of death in space is the way it affects not only the body, but the mind. Space travel is often a lonely and isolating experience, with astronauts spending long periods cut off from communication with the outside world. The psychological toll of space travel is well documented, with astronauts experiencing everything from depression to anxiety due to the extreme isolation and lack of familiar sensory input. But the threat of death compounds these fears. The realization that should something go wrong, help may be too far away to ever arrive is an unsettling truth. Imagine being thousands of miles from Earth, knowing that your life depends entirely on a fragile system of life support and technology. The idea of dying alone in space, without the comfort of loved ones or the possibility of rescue, is an unnerving thought, but one that space explorers must face head-on. In the event of an astronaut's death in space, the immediate concern would be the preservation of the body. Unlike on Earth, where a burial or cremation provides closure, the question of what to do with a body in space is far more complex. In the case of an untimely death during a space mission, the body would likely remain aboard the spacecraft or space station until a solution could be found. But in the vacuum of space, decomposition would not occur in the same way it does on Earth. There would be no bacteria or insects to break down the body. Instead, the body would likely freeze due to the extreme cold of space. This poses a unique problem for future space missions, particularly as we explore distant planets. How will we handle the bodies of astronauts who die while exploring the cosmos? The question remains unresolved, but it is an issue that must be addressed as we move further into the universe. While space agencies like NASA have not formally addressed the idea of interplanetary burials, the possibility of a human body being left in space is not as far-fetched as it may seem. In fact, there are precedents for human remains being placed in space. The most famous example is that of the ashes of famed scientist Carl Sagan, which were launched into space aboard a spacecraft. However, this was not a burial, it was a symbolic gesture meant to honor Sagan's contributions to science. The question of how we would treat the remains of astronauts who died during deep space missions, however, is much more practical. Space agencies must develop new protocols for handling these deaths, whether through preservation, returning bodies to Earth, or finding new ways to deal with human remains in space. This is an issue that will become increasingly important as human space exploration extends farther into the cosmos. Death in space raises many other ethical questions. If a crew member dies during a mission, what happens to the rest of the crew? The psychological impact of losing a colleague, especially in the isolation of space, could be devastating. In addition, there are practical concerns. Space missions are expensive and time-consuming, and the loss of a crew member could derail a mission, especially one that is planned to last years. The remaining astronauts would have to make difficult decisions about how to continue the mission. Would they try to return to Earth with the body? Would they press on, leaving the deceased astronaut behind? In the future, these decisions could become even more difficult as humanity extends its reach farther into the stars. On a long-term mission to another planet, for example, returning to Earth might not even be an option. Such decisions will not only test the limits of human endurance, but also raise questions about the value of human life in the vastness of space. As we move forward in our exploration of space, the risk of death will continue to be a major concern. There is no guarantee that the technology we currently rely on will always function as expected. Even with the best preparation and planning, unexpected accidents can and do happen. In the early years of space exploration, astronauts face dangers from exploding rockets, malfunctioning spacecraft, and hostile environments. Today, while space travel has become safer, there are still many risks, whether it's radiation exposure, microgravity effects on the body, or the breakdown of life support systems. Astronauts face a variety of life-threatening challenges. These risks only increase as we push further into space, to the moon, Mars, and beyond. The silent void of space remains a daunting and dangerous frontier. As we dream of reaching distant stars, we must always remember the risks that come with exploring the unknown. Despite the dangers, space exploration is a vital part of human progress. As we look toward the future of space travel, we must find ways to mitigate the risks associated with death in space. Advances in technology, medical science, and life support systems will continue to improve the safety of astronauts. In particular, the development of artificial intelligence and robotics could play a major role in reducing the dangers of human space exploration. AI systems could monitor astronauts' health and detect potential issues before they become life-threatening. Robots could be used to perform tasks that would otherwise put human lives at risk, such as repairs or handling dangerous materials. The goal is to create an environment in which astronauts can explore the cosmos safely, minimizing the risks of death and injury. But even with these advancements, there will always be inherent dangers in space, and the possibility of death will never be completely eliminated. Another factor to consider is the way that space exploration could change our understanding of life and death. In many ways, the harshness of space could redefine our relationship with mortality. For centuries, humans have viewed death as something that happens on Earth, in familiar settings with established rituals. But death in space would challenge this view. It would force us to rethink what it means to live and die as human beings. Would we honor the dead in the same way we do on Earth? Would we create new rituals for space funerals or memorials? How would we cope with the psychological impact of death so far from home? These questions don't have easy answers, but they are ones we must begin to consider as we move further into space. The way we approach death in space will reflect not just our values, but also our understanding of what it means to be human in the face of the infinite. The death of an astronaut could also have profound impacts on the way we view space exploration itself. In the early days of human spaceflight, the risks were clear, but the rewards were even clearer. We were driven by the desire to push the boundaries of human knowledge and capability. Today, as we continue our exploration of the cosmos, those rewards still drive us. But as we venture further from Earth, the risks become more personal. The death of an astronaut would not only be a tragedy for their family and friends, but also for humanity as a whole. It would serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of space and the fragility of human life. Such an event could shake public support for space exploration, forcing us to reconsider whether the rewards are worth the risks. But it could also serve as a catalyst for progress, inspiring new technologies and protocols to ensure that future space explorers are better protected. In the long-term future, as we aim to establish colonies on distant planets, the risk of death in space will become an even more pressing issue. Settling new worlds will require astronauts to survive in environments that are far more hostile than anything they have encountered before. For example, Mars has a thin atmosphere, extreme temperatures, and dangerous radiation levels, all of which pose significant risks to human health. The Physical and psychological challenges of living on such a planet are immense, and the risk of death will be ever present. But it is also possible that these challenges will lead to new breakthroughs in science and technology. To survive on a distant planet, humans will need to develop innovative life support systems, new forms of medical care, and ways to protect themselves from the dangers of the environment. In the process, we will likely discover new ways to prevent death and extend life in space. But these discoveries will come at a cost, and we must be prepared to face the possibility of loss. Even as we take steps to minimize the risks of death in space, we must remember that space exploration is inherently dangerous. The cosmos is vast, and the challenges we face are immense. But this does not mean we should shy away from the journey. Instead, it should inspire us to push forward, to find new ways to protect astronauts, and to honor those who risk their lives for the greater good of humanity. The potential benefits of space exploration are vast, from new scientific discoveries to the possibility of finding new homes for humanity. As we venture into the unknown, we must be prepared for the possibility of loss, but we must also remain focused on the incredible potential that lies beyond the stars. Death in space may be inevitable, but so is the hope and promise of discovery, and that is what will continue to drive us toward the final frontier. In the end, space exploration is about more than just the pursuit of knowledge. It is about our desire to push the boundaries of human existence and understand our place in the cosmos. The risks we take in exploring the unknown are an essential part of that journey. Every astronaut who ventures into space does so knowing that they may never return, but they do so because they believe in the greater good of humanity. Their bravery is a testament to the human spirit and our unwavering curiosity. As we continue our exploration of space, we must honor those who have sacrificed everything for the pursuit of knowledge. Their deaths, though tragic, will be remembered not as failures, but as part of the story of human progress. And with every step forward, we move closer to understanding the universe and our place within it. Space is not just a place of science and exploration. It is a place of profound human experience. The journey into space challenges our understanding of life, death, and everything in between. It is a reminder that despite our technological advancements, we are still fragile beings facing an immense, unyielding universe. The risks of space travel are great, but so are the rewards. Each mission is a testament to human ingenuity and courage. It is a reminder that even in the face of death, we continue to reach for the stars. In the silent void of space, the legacy of those who venture into the unknown will live on. And as we move forward into this vast frontier, we carry with us the memories of those who have come before us, reminding us of the true cost of exploration. As we look to the future, we must continue to prioritize safety in space exploration. The development of new technologies and better protective measures will be essential in minimizing the risks that astronauts face. However, we must also acknowledge that space is a perilous environment and death will always be a part of that reality. This does not mean we should stop exploring. On the contrary, it means we should be even more committed to finding ways to protect those who venture into space. We must strive to create systems that will keep astronauts safe, but we must also honor those who give their lives in pursuit of the unknown. Their sacrifice should inspire us to continue our journey into space, knowing that while death is a possibility, the potential for discovery is worth the risk. In the quiet vastness of space, death may seem like the ultimate end, but in many ways it is just another part of the journey. The astronauts who risk their lives are not only exploring the cosmos, they are exploring the very nature of human existence. By venturing into space, they challenge us to reconsider our own understanding of life, death, and our place in the universe. Their courage, determination, and commitment to the exploration of the unknown serve as an inspiration for future generations. While death in space may be inevitable, the human spirit is indomitable. And as we continue to reach for the stars, we do so with the knowledge that each step forward brings us closer to answering the biggest questions about our place in the universe. Every astronaut who travels to space does so with the awareness that they may not return. But despite this, they continue to push the boundaries of human knowledge and understanding. Their willingness to risk their lives in pursuit of knowledge is a testament to the indomitable human spirit. It is a reminder that in the face of the unknown, humanity continues to reach for the stars. In the silence of space, the courage of those who venture into the unknown is felt across the universe. They are not just exploring a physical frontier, they are exploring the very limits of human potential. As space exploration continues, we will encounter new challenges, new risks, and new questions about the nature of life and death. We may lose more astronauts in the pursuit of knowledge, but their sacrifice will not be in vain. Each loss is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to improve our understanding of the universe. In the silence of space, the legacy of those who have given their lives for exploration will continue to inspire future generations. And with each new mission, we come closer to answering the ultimate question, what lies beyond the stars? The future of space exploration is filled with promise and danger in equal measure. As we look to the stars, we must remember the risks, the costs, and the sacrifices that are a part of every mission. Death in space may be an inevitability, but so is the hope of discovery. We must continue to push forward, not just for the sake of knowledge, but for the sake of those who have gone before us and for the future of humanity. Their courage will live on, guiding us as we continue our journey into the unknown. Space exploration is a journey into the unknown, and with that journey comes risk. But it also comes with the potential for profound discovery. Death in space is a somber reality, but it is also a reminder of the courage and determination of those who choose to explore the cosmos. They are not simply astronauts, they are pioneers, risk takers, and visionaries who are helping to shape the future of humanity. In the vast emptiness of space, their legacy will continue to inspire us as we continue our journey toward the stars. As we move into the future, space will continue to challenge us in ways we cannot yet imagine. The risks will increase, but so will the rewards. Every new discovery brings us closer to understanding the universe and our place in it. The sacrifices made by astronauts in the pursuit of knowledge will always be remembered, and their courage will continue to drive us forward. In the silence of space, their legacy will live on, inspiring generations to come. And so, as we look to the stars, we remember those who have given everything in the pursuit of knowledge. The death of an astronaut in space is a tragic event, but it is also a testament to the human spirit. In the silent, infinite void, their legacy will live on. And with every step we take into the unknown, we are reminded of the courage, the sacrifice, and the hope that will continue to drive humanity forward as we venture ever closer to the stars.